So,
Oh,
yeah, I
I
think
guess
that
we are.
yeah, I guess we are live, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go on my different social medias and I'm going to share to some of the groups we are on, like the ones that we are
Sure.
on the Telegram group, like that.
Mhm.
In the meantime, maybe you can just tell me a little bit about yourself, please, Khushboo, like where you're from, where you grew up, and stuff like that.
Okay, I am from India, and now I live in Singapore. And I mean, prior to working in Lightning Ventures, I was working in a Japanese bank, which is Mizuho Bank, back in Mumbai. But the headquarter was in Singapore, so I used to report to Singapore team. And I mean, I have done my PhD in economics, and um, yeah, things. I mean, so yeah, that's.
Okay.
Are we live? Like,
Well,
are we just texting right now?
well, I'm not sure if we're live, okay? I'm just gonna log into my YouTube channel over here and then check.
Yeah, just
Cause
let me know because I'm just blabbering because.
yes, yes, no, exactly. I want you to blabber. I want you to tell me where
Yeah.
you were born in India and what your growing up was like.
Oh, I was born in Rajasthan, and my growing up was like I was sort of a tomboy, I could say that, a rebellious kid, whatever I wanted, an ambitious kid. Maybe I always wanted to, go to a different path. I was not a conventional person. Still, I'm not. So that's something that defines me, I would say. And I mean, I always love exploring things. I always want to, do something different, something that's unconventional. Yeah, so that's how I am.
And that's from when you were growing up. Did you have any siblings? Did you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah. I have a younger brother who's still in India, and I mean, yeah, I'm very close to him.
Okay, so where was your tomboyish from? Did you just get involved in like boyish things or?
I used to play basketball. I used to play cricket. I still love cricket. I'm a huge cricket fan. And maybe because I am born Indian, so that's pretty normal. And maybe I was lucky enough. My parents treated me like a guy child, so maybe that tomboyishness comes from that. And I never felt like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. You know how restrictive Indian society is in general. So I was very fortunate, to have a liberal family. That's why I was able to, complete my PhD and work simultaneously. So, and yeah, so that's how the tomboyishness maybe I imbibed from the environment I was in.
Okay, great. And tell me a bit about your PhD.
Well, I did my PhD on India's energy sector, and it was about, leveraging econometric models to forecast domestic production and basically import dependency. So I try to identify the pattern, seasonality, and dependencies, uh, to help giving a clearer view how as a country we can, produce, and where imports will be essential, stuff like that. And then I tried using autoregressive integrated moving average and seasonal autoregressive integrated moving average approach to forecast domestic production and import dependencies of India's energy need. Because when I did my PhD, we as a country, was like, it was energy hungry, and planning ahead was the key. So my research was basically to offer insights that could help policymakers to optimize, energy resources, manage seasonal fluctuations, yeah, stuff like that, to become a more self-reliant energy future.
Okay, so you said some things that I didn't know anything about. It's the first time that I've ever heard those things. Very, very, very probably jargon from your industry. But let's take a step back. Let's go back to how did you get from Miss Tomboy to getting interested in economics?
Oh, I mean, I was always I would say studious, you know. That was something. That go hand in hand. Maybe I never, you know, I don't know how it came, but like this was something, and I never thought of like doing PhD. I never thought like I never planned, stuff like this, that I'll be doing PhD and then I'll be, following this path or that path, something like that. But yeah, I think, it just fell into place. I did masters in economics, then I was doing computer science also simultaneously. So the next thing that I was always intrigued, maybe while I was doing masters, I wanted to work in a research organization. The I mean, my professor, who was part of that research organization, he actually guided me to be, to go for a PhD. So I applied. I got into PhD from University of Rajasthan, where I did my PhD, and simultaneously I was working for a think tank, which is called Cuts. They have their offices in India as well as abroad, the head, Geneva also. So I did a project with them for Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Uh, yeah.
Okay, so that was while you were doing your PhD, and were they
Yes.
helping you, or was this just by the way that you were also doing these other things?
Sorry.
You said that you were either doing your master's or your PhD, and you were doing all of this work with this think tank and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and then
Yes.
you stopped very suddenly. Maybe you're thinking the Bitcoin, or some audience
No,
would.
no, no. I didn't stop suddenly. I kept on. I was there with the research organization for around 2 years, and while I was doing PhD, But then I was intrigued because I was working on energy security. The topic was energy security, so that's how the link started. I was intrigued by Bitcoin. I was reading about it simultaneously, but I was working in a organization which was more into research pertaining to developing nations. And then I was working after the research organization. I was working in the bank where inflation models, that was something I was doing, forecasting models, telling CFOs what would be the interest rate, what would the monetary policy of India, stuff like that. That's where this thing hit me when the demonetization happened in India, and I was like, oh my god, this is something, now Bitcoin is something that I need to take it up seriously. So energy security and inflation from economic side inspired me to take up Bitcoin startup back in India. So that's how the journey started.
So let me see if I get this straight, right? If I heard you correctly, while you were doing your PhD and your PhD was on energy security and you were doing your research in that, that's when you started getting interested in Bitcoin. What was the relations between energy security and Bitcoin in your mind at the time?
Oh, at that time, honestly speaking, one thing I was very clear that, any country, I'm talking from maybe from a developing nation perspective, like any country that needs to, go from a trajectory of a developing nation to a developed nation, or any country for that matter, energy security is the key. And and while I was, you can rely on domestic sources, and you can rely on import dependency. You can have good relations with your neighboring countries, but at the end of the day, energy security is the key. And Bitcoin uses mining for proof of work and electricity, while Bitcoin was something, all about monetary policy, and you need energy to mine Bitcoin. So maybe when these things were aligned, I mean, in my head I aligned these two factors, and I was like, I should read more about it. But I never thought like, this is something that I will take up professionally, honestly speaking. I was like, because I was not well aware of that ecosystem. India was not mature as an ecosystem, in those terms. Even if you look at the compliance, even if you look at the regulatory, from a regulatory standpoint also, it was way too early. So that's how I thought of joining a startup, as an economist advisor role for a Bitcoin exchange. They were trying to build a Bitcoin exchange. So I thought, okay, this is the right way to go down the rabbit hole and try to understand how I can help this startup, and how I can in fact start my journey in this domain.
Okay, so your first
So
introduction
before
to
before before I joined the bank, I had this bridge.
okay, so even at the very beginning, you understood like the connection between mining and electricity and all of that. Even in those early days, I think it was only afterwards when all of that became popularized that I started thinking along those lines.
Thanks to my PhD, and also my professor, who was he was someone who he did his own PhD from Canada, and I guess he was like way ahead of his time. So he used to refer me books, not Bitcoin books, but I got that habit of reading beyond my research topics. And energy security is generally not a PhD economics topic, you know. You like in India, I'm talking from an Indian, mindset and perspective. So he was the one who pushed me towards it, and he used to also keep on writing topics on energy security and how India can have good relations with Central Asian regions, which is a very energy reliant, rich country. But we being sharing the geopolitical location is such, we are neighbors of Pakistan, and you know how it is. So that triggered me, like, what happens if you are not in a good relation with your neighboring countries? Then what happens? You just can't, I mean, what do you do then? Then I thought, okay, that's how, I mean, that's how I it kept on, I was like trying to figure out a way, trying to understand how a country can become self-reliant, how they can follow the trajectory of from a developing nation, how they can be a go towards being a called a developed nation.
Okay. Did anything about Bitcoin make it into your final thesis in your PhD at all?
No, no, unfortunately, no, because that wasn't. I mean, I don't think so. Anybody would have, you know, even could have guessed the connection. Imagine like back in those days, like energy security mattered a lot. Even if nowadays, if I talk about Bitcoin, is still for them, it's a still funny internet money, honestly speaking. They sometimes they do message me like, why did you get into this space? Is it, I mean, there's still a dilemma in so many people head. They're like still trying to wrap head around it, maybe because of the Bitcoin price they have started talking about this topic. But still there is a gap
There's still
in terms of,
skepticism.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. They can't even differentiate between Bitcoin and other currency. For them, it's the same.
Okay, so yeah, so let's get back to your progress. How how do you say you've gone from starting out with the startup, being like an economic policy advisor? How did you go from there to your current role at Lightning Ventures?
Oh, like when I shifted to Singapore, I was because I did a master's in National University of Singapore, Masters in Venture Creation. So it's a mix of where they, it's basically you get into a zone where you learn about how to start a startup, and how you basically you structurally learn how to build high potential startups, and how a VC, what metrics does VC use to invest in startup. So you have both the perspective, and also you get to work in a startup for like 3 or 4 months. In fact, I continued my internship for like 1 year, where I was with a health tech startup, and I helped them in raising series A. And at that point of time I was thinking, okay, this was in 2023, and I was like, okay, this is I was under the impression that Singapore would be adopting ETF soon, but that didn't
Sorry, a
happen. It
Bitcoin ETF or just
Bitcoin ETF. But
okay.
Singapore does it, they didn't, and I was like, okay, this is the right time to get into this space. And Singapore is a more mature ecosystem, but unfortunately in Singapore I didn't find any VC who's just focused on Bitcoin native startups. It's more of it's lopsided, it's more of crypto. So luckily I was in a conference in Indonesia. Then I have heard about Lightning Ventures, but then I was like, okay, I met many people and at the conference, and I was like, okay, this is the right time, and I just got to know about I just applied at Lightning Ventures, and Mike was generous enough to give me this opportunity, and here I am.
So I'm going to say this again to see if I got this right. You were doing your master's in Singapore University, and there you helped one startup get Series A funding, and at that time already you were seriously interested in getting involved in the space in helping startups in the Bitcoin industry. But in Singapore, their focus was more on the crypto industry as a whole, which obviously as a
Yeah.
Bitcoiner you think is like a scam. And then you and then you went to another conference somewhere in Indonesia, and then you met up with the people from Lightning Ventures. You guys had a great connection, and everything fit into place. And now you're
No,
doing your
not a great connection, just a hi, hello. Maybe they don't even remember me. But I got this like, okay, there is something. This is something that I need to look up honestly. And I was speaking to someone, I don't remember the name now. He was not from Lightning Ventures. He suggested me, oh, you know so much about it. Why don't you do something in this professionally? And maybe that triggered something in me, and I was like, yeah, I mean, let's try. So I just thought, okay, let me see, because there are just handful of VCs who invest in Bitcoin startups, and like Lightning Ventures is one of the prominent VCs. So that's, and I always was intrigued, to do deals for US markets, or a European market which is more mature in terms of Bitcoin startups. And when I got into Lightning Ventures, and I was like, okay, they are already covering US and European markets, and I thought, okay, let's now expand the network in Asia now.
Okay, so it seems to me like you get like a lot of your good ideas speaking to other people. You told me you spoke to your professor when you were doing your master's, and he put you on to doing a PhD, or maybe the particular kind. And now you're saying that you're speaking this idea to a person, and he or she said, "Why don't you do this?" And that's how you got your job at Lightning. So a lot of like your ideas and inspiration come in conversations with people that you really respect and admire.
I think it's always there in your head subconsciously. You always, maybe you need a third person to, maybe validate that. You always seeking a validation in a way, because if it's there subconsciously in your head, then only you can take a leap forward. If it's just a new idea, I don't think so I would have had the courage to, go and take up something which was like new to me. So I think conversation is necessary. That's maybe that's what my role is. It always begin with a conversation, speaking to founders, speaking to new investors. That's how, you do brainstorming and you just get along.
Okay, great. So tell us basically, what do you do at Lightning Ventures?
Oh, well, I mean, I mostly focus on evangelizing Lightning Capital through leadership forums or conferences to increase the reach of our brand, Lightning Ventures. We have another platform also, Thunder Funder, which is a crowdfunding platform. And there's a Spark Services also, which helps, if a founder from 0 to 1 is seeking any help in maybe incorporating a company in US, or want to set up a bank account, or want to need help with market sizing, pitch deck, anything under the sun they need help with. That's what I try to, help them. And we're trying to, through these verticals of Lightning Capital, to expand the top of the funnels for new company introduction. So I'm also responsible for portfolio success and partnerships for our existing funded startups. And so if I have to just pinpoint three functions. So one would be thought leadership, that's the Lightning Capital. And second would be deal closing with founders. And third would be investors or LP signups. That's These are the three key roles that I do.
What was the first one again?
Thought leadership, where you go to forums, go to conferences to increase the reach of your brand.
So that's basically how we met, right? You were at the Adopting Bitcoin conference in Cape Town, so you were fulfilling the first one. You were talking about Lightning Ventures.
I was doing all the three at the same time, because when even if you want to meet the founders, even if you want to get new startups, that's the way. Because if somebody knows, okay, the VC is on a panel, then it becomes easier for them to reach out. Otherwise, there's a myth that it's very difficult to reach out to a VC. I'm just trying to break that myth also. Like, VCs are approachable. Even if you're not raising fund, just come talk to us, pitch your ideas. Maybe we can help you out with, you know with your roadmap, your market strategy, or something. Yeah. So I try to do all the three roles in one go.
And did you find any startups at that particular conference in Cape Town that we met at that you were interested in?
uh I mean, the startups that I met are generally those startups that, they don't have a registered company. They are startups that are doing a project sort of a work. So I am still in conversation with some of the startups. It is at a very, very early stage. So uh, I wouldn't be. I can't say like, this is something that, I mean, from Africa, I didn't get any startup that, it was more of a project based individual contributor startup. But we had a good conversation. It was pre-seed early startups that I spoke to. Maybe when they move to next, or when they incorporate the company, if they have to reach out to any founder, they know whom to reach out to.
Do you think there's a serious lack of like capacity for that kind of thing here in Africa?
It's I think I mean, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. There's a serious lack of capacity. Maybe I was running short on time. I was just there for like 2 days. So I think it's about, making uh, presence. That's the thing. I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay, so you think that you're not sure, you just weren't here long enough, but it's good that you were here
Yeah,
to
and
have like some
it was my,
presence.
it was my first time. It was my first time. So, from that perspective, I think maybe if I spend some time progressively in this continent, and if I make few more connections, maybe now you can suggest me a good startup, you can suggest me anyone who needs help with funding or with advisory, yeah, maybe.
So let's say, for example, one startup is watching this stream and they interested. So what kind of thing are you looking at in the startup? Like is just an idea? Must they have like something going already? Must they have like clients? What are you looking for?
See, if it's a very early stage startup, it's just the idea and the founder. That's all you have. You're betting on the founder, and if he has like the pedigree of founder is very vital for me. We are looking for exceptional founders working on exceptional idea, and if they have a clear understanding of the market they are targeting, if they have a clear understanding like this is the exceptional tam samsung they're working on, I mean, great. I mean, we always look out for outlier pitch. I mean, that is something I'm always intrigued with. And even if they are not generating revenue, but if even if there is a small progress, if they know problem solution fit, that's what problem they are solving. That's the most important thing. Sometimes you're building something but you don't even know if it's even required. But if they have the clarity like this is the problem statement I'm solving, and maybe in 3 or 4 years this is something that people might so this is something I could say. And after I mean seed stage or series A, we look for traction. That is something uh, you know I look in a startup. Yeah.
So, do you think that working with Lightning Network and Bitcoin, that a lot of the solutions people don't even know that are problems? A lot of the market don't even know, or do you find that startups are like attracting like a market that's already know about Bitcoin and know about Lightning Network?
So I didn't get your question.
So for me, it's like I think that the Bitcoin space is like tiny, right? And the market for these things is small, and but like the market globally is huge compared to like people that know what the benefits of Lightning are. But I'm guessing that Lightning Ventures is like a business that's related specifically to Lightning Network based ventures, something to do with the Lightning Network, something to do with
Absolutely.
transactions over the Bitcoin network and Lightning. But that to me is like a very small, tiny percentage of people that know that, right? So if someone comes to you with an idea and like maybe their market is going to be like everyone, and Lightning is going to be hidden from the eventual solution. Actually, I've forgotten what the question was now, Khushboo.
Okay, good.
But I think
I
you know what I'm
mean,
trying to say, right? We either addressing this big market that's
so
out
you're
there.
saying so you're saying the market sizing for lightning network is small.
It's just because so little people know about it.
But what do you know? What do you mean by little people? Like the founders, or are you talking in general?
In general, like
In
say
general.
for instance, I got this idea of like a beautiful
Okay.
app
So,
that would.
so I can say this is something like internet. When internet started, and when people were doing or making or had their startups on internet, and other in general the idea was like, oh, internet is such a small market. How would you explain the market sizing of it, and how would you explain internet penetration? I think bitcoin and lightning is also following the same trajectory. We are also facing the same challenges. I'm talking in general. Um, uh, and and but but we are very bullish on lightning network. That's how the name lightning ventures is from. And for us, lightning network is arguably the most well known Bitcoin layer 2 solution. And it's exactly like you said, awareness is an issue. I agree. I mean, 100% agree. But that doesn't mean opportunity is small. You know, um, uh, we as a VC see it from an opportunity lens. You know, for us, it's a moonshot. We believe in it. Look at what internet did. you know, so I'm just trying to meet more founders who are equally optimistic about this space, and maybe with time there'll be more awareness. And you heard the news during Plan B conference about uh, uh, Tether. They are bringing USDT on Bitcoin's Lightning Network. So in fact, I did this is 2 days back. I'm in Hong Kong, and I did a panel on Lightning, and I had like VC from Waterdrip, from Hashkey, and OKX. We were talking about Lightning Network. I mean, this is something that that drives us. At least now people have started talking about it. The topic was Lightning Network. uh, and this is like, I think for VC for me is like it's equal to risk capital, and VCs fill the gap between realism and optimism, uh, with capital to pursue, I would say, dreams of future. So and I think bringing internet money to Africa is not tiny, to other nations like India, it's not tiny. I think there's a huge SAM that's still untapped, that needs to be uh, taken. In fact, cross-border payments, micro payments, remittances. It's such a huge market, still dominated by Swift technology. So I think it's a billion-dollar market, still untapped. Maybe general people don't know. It's the awareness and education that needs to be taken care of. And unlike internet, Bitcoin will unlock, trillions of transactions. I mean, that's what keeps us driving.
So, Lightning Ventures, you said earlier on in the conversation, it's affiliated with Thunder. Is that the Thunder games, those games that you download and play and
Oh,
you
no,
earn those sats?
Thunder Games is one of our portfolio companies, but
The Thunder
the
Fund,
platform, it's Thunder Funder. So the
Thunder
difference
Funder.
is, yeah, so the difference is, on Thunder Funder, even a non-accredited investor can also invest. So the ticket size is smaller. It starts from $100. So anybody sitting at home and feel like, oh, I want to be part of this Bitcoin ecosystem. I really believe in this startup, and I also want to invest in this startup. They can do it, like, so it's a crowdfunding platform. It's also for non-accredited investor. So it's a rec CF platform.
Sorry, a Rec CF.
Yeah, crowdfunding platform, basically. In
Okay.
simpler terms, it's crowdfunding platform,
Is it like Geyser
regulated.
Fund or is it more like you
Geyser,
investing
Geyser is
in
also Geyser is also our portfolio company. Fortunately, uh, yeah, it's like that, but it's more. It's a only US companies can, we have license only for US companies. So if you are incorporated in US and if you want to raise money, reach out to us. We might help you with raising money. So,
okay,
but the criteria is you have to be a US company, because yeah, that's
okay, so Thunder Funder, you must be a US company and then you can do you have to be a US citizen to be able to invest in those companies?
No, no, no. The investor could be from anywhere.
The investors could be from anywhere, but those companies must be registered in the US to be able to
Yes,
get
yes. I'm
platformed
aware.
on Thunder
Yes,
Funder.
absolutely,
So that's like crowdfunding for raising capital for your business. But Geyser
absolutely.
Fund is more like creating like a backer buddy or one of these crowdfunding where you could raise funds for anything.
I mean, it's Geyser is more of a project based, I would say. I would put it that way. uh, where you can, it's not equity based, ours is equity based also. So that's the difference.
So you mean the Lightning Ventures is equity based? You give some funding to a founder, and you take some equity in the company.
Yeah, but Lightning Ventures is different. Thunder Funder is different. So Lightning Ventures, here only accredited investor can be part of this, and uh, this is where even accredited and non-accredited could be part of the platform.
Which one? In Lightning
Thunder
or
Funder,
in
Thunder
Thunder Fund?
Funder, yeah, Thunder Funder,
Non-accredited.
and both non-accredited and accredited, both.
And Lightning Ventures only accredited investors.
Absolutely.
Okay, okay, got it. So these are different but associated. They work together, maybe share an office, maybe share personnel, but the kind of idea and focus behind it is totally separate.
Yeah, the idea is the same: to push forward the Bitcoin community in any way possible, be it a crowdfunding platform or be it a fund through syndicate. It could be, so that's our way. And maybe we'll have other platforms in future where we can also help, these startups. Yeah, that's our way. So we are just creating different avenues for these startups, for the founders to raise capital.
Okay, great. So I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I just want you to tell me, what do you see for the future for your own company, Lightning Ventures, and also for the Bitcoin industry as a whole?
Um, I think I'm very bullish because there are very handful VCs, in this space that invest in just Bitcoin native startups. It's not easy, when you're doing something unconventional. It's not an easy path, and it's not easy even for the Bitcoin founders. But that's how the journey is, and you are seeing internet all over again for money this time. So we are backing this. And I think, just like you have native internet VC funds, we are native Bitcoin VC fund, and we need more VCs in this space. We need a bigger fund size. And I am very hopeful in terms of Bitcoin and also Lightning Network. I mean, Lightning Network, as I said, is arguably the most well-known Bitcoin layer 2 solution, and I'm very optimistic about it. And founders tapping, you know, uh, I would say, if you're under the impression that it has a very small market sizing, then I mean you're mistaken. Uh, I think, maybe there'll be more awareness, and if we have more panels where people are talking about Lightning Network and Bitcoin, maybe we'll see a shift. And as any, technology adoption curve, like store of value, it's a proven fact now. If you have to move to medium of exchange, it's going to take time, but Bitcoin is changing the world, that's for sure. People are talking about it. And once they have started talking about Bitcoin, they will also, get into talk. I mean, they will surely talk about Lightning Network also. So all, I mean, and in fact, all countries are doing strategic reserve. So I mean, that's a fabulous thing. And a portfolio company like Jan3, which does nation state advisory on Bitcoin, B2G thing, which is great. And if in fact, if we have stuff like that, that'll be great. And digital gold story is happening in front of our eyes. And I think this is the I mean, it's going to be one of the best years for Bitcoin. And I think next step uh, would be, the TradFi, the traditional finance, where the Wall Street is going to, even talk about it, plant a flag, and you will see Bitcoin more being offered by institutions, banks. Uh, I think there is a shift there, and who doesn't want to have a something that as a store of value, it's an app. I mean, uh, it's something I feel is in highest asset class I can think of. So imagine accounts where fiat Bitcoin will show on your same screen. I mean, how cool would that be? And countries where they are hedging against inflation or devaluation, Bitcoin is something, and Lightning Network is something that can, they actually need this more than anyone else. So adoption and distribution is going to be big with FIs, and driving this new leg of adoption is something that I'm looking forward to. And Lightning Ventures is there to support all the founders who are working around this ecosystem. And I think this is the way we can take this ecosystem forward.
Khushboo, you must please promise to come on my show again because I have so much more questions for you, but because you surprised me today by making this a bit earlier, I didn't get a
Oh
chance to
my
ask them
God.
all. So you must please
I,
say
I
yes.
am
You're
on
gonna.
so many time zones that I sometimes, get confused. It's my bad. I will definitely, whenever you are free, I can, be there on your show. Would love to.
Okay, great. And also, you must promise that next time you come to South Africa, or if you come for the next conference, you're gonna take extra days off to come on the road trip with us.
Absolutely. You remember I had a conversation with you at Cape Town, and I was like, I am gonna be there for a while now. Next time, even if I'm there, I'm gonna plan, really well. Next time for sure.
And finally, before you go, if someone's interested in getting in touch with you at Lightning Ventures, how can they do that?
Please go to our website, ltng.ventures. So so if you go there, we have a pitch us. There you click pitch us, and there you fill up a form, the basic stuff about your venture. You tell us about yourself, your company, a few metrics about your company, tell us about what you're building. It's a small form, you just fill that out, and someone from the team will reach out to you, and I'm always available. You can reach out to me on Twitter or my LinkedIn.
Khushboo Khullar, thank you so much for coming on my show, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you for having me.